Good evening. I'll bring this March 22nd regular City Council meeting to order. If we could please rise for the invocation by Swami Anjani Cirillo.
Namaste. Lord, may your goodness and love be present among us today. Come bless our gathering with unity, hope, and vision. Lord, we pray for unity. Build in us all a deep respect for one another so we may serve our community. Lord, we pray for hope. Come, stir your hope within our hearts and help us renew our commitment to take care of others. Lord, we pray for vision. May your vision fill our hearts as we seek to represent our citizens in making thoughtful and proper decisions. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Short and sweet.
Thank you.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin.
Here.
Vice Mayor Coy.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd let us know at the last meeting that he will not be with us tonight. Councilmember Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Kitchen.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Council on the agenda modifications? All right. Leads us up to a presentation by Natalie Van Cleef from the Sebastian River Area Little League. You don't look like a
I was
Natalie.
going to say, he doesn't look like a Natalie.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to pass for Natalie. I'm not sure where Natalie is, but I'll be more than happy to speak on behalf of the Little League. My name's Brian Knapel. Baseball history is pretty extensive. Played football and baseball at the college level. Was a former K-9 officer for the city of Palm Bay. Was injured in line of duty. Recently, as of the fall, took part in the first season with the Sebastian Little League. Been with several Little Leagues in the past with my kids. Long story the short is there was some need to improve, change leadership there at the Little League. I gratefully accepted that and took on the director of baseball, and it was brought to our attention there was some talk that the management would be changing there over the next several months before the fall. That is in the process. However, wanted to clarify that there will be some members that are staying, and I believe it's Natalie that will be stepping down and filling in her shoes with some new people to keep the Little League going in the direction it needs to be. And I believe that was a few of the things that she was going to mention this evening. And if there were any concerns or questions the City Council had on the Little League or the status of it, I'd be more than happy to answer anything on her behalf. Fortunately, I don't know where she's at.
Well, I didn't have any. All mine went through Mr. Griffin as far as, participation in a little league and possibly looking at the books there.
And I know it wanted to be expressed that they're very appreciative for everything the city's doing, and the purpose of this restructuring is to grow it in the right direction and pick up some of the pieces that may have been lost in the past, and want to do more there, because I think we can do a better job as a Little League, and the gift that's been offered to us there. So again, I wish I could speak in more detail of what else she had planned. However, I'm winging it here.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yes.
could, I first want to say that I very much appreciate the Little League. I've had children in the Little League. I have children who will be playing in Little League going forward, and I appreciate what Little League baseball has done for our country and certainly for the city of Sebastian. There was a time in Sebastian when Little League was tremendous, and there was a tremendous outpouring of support for that. And it seems as though over the years there's been a lack of teams or the lack of ability to get kids to get out and play in Little League. I don't fault the organization itself. I just would throw out there that if there's something that the city could do from a standpoint of slides on 25 or anything that we could potentially do to you know, sort of bring more people to the fold, to get more kids out there playing, then I would ask that you speak up and get with the city manager and say, look, we've got an opening day coming up. We're going to start registration. Can we get slides on 25? Can we get something posted in City Hall, or, you know, whatever we can do as a city? Not that costs us more money, but there are a lot of things we can do to put, you know, to get the word out that Little League is getting ready to start.
Well, and I think one of the areas where I was going to be introduced with her was the role that I'm taking now on bringing that back to Sebastian with the Little League. Not just the baseball knowledge, but also the contacts that I have through camps and clinics. Mm-hmm. But we also brought back a traveling team that I started as a non-for-profit that is just Sebastian Little League kids. Mm-hmm. So this is giving them an opportunity to play after the Little League season, and we've brought back, we're on a waiting list right now for the Little League, which hasn't happened in a long time. So it's slow, but they're seeing that, okay, there's a different vibe, if you will, there. More so with the instruction and the fundamentals, because it starts at the T-ball. And sure. The errors of today are errors from several years ago. So I wanted to reach out to you that is already something that is in the works. And once a more official role, speaking for myself, will be reaching out to the city for more exposure, because I do know that we're going to see numbers grow there very, very soon in the coming seasons.
Well, I can just tell you that from my standpoint, mm-hmm. the Little League Baseball has a partner in me, and I believe as a whole in the council, because yep. I believe that the success of Little League is extremely important to the success of our children and the Parks and Recreation Department that we have.
You're absolutely correct.
So I am 100% in support of the Little League. I'm glad to hear there are some things that are changing, and I look forward to seeing you guys move in the right direction.
Thank you. And one of the things that I was going to say was, you know, taking that proactive approach and speaking with Mr. Griffin, have already extended that olive branch, so to speak, along with football and softball, to say, hey, we're a community. Let's bring that spirit back here, because kids that are in sports ultimately are doing positive things, not negative things that are associated with kids today. So I appreciate that very much. And I do apologize for Ms. Van Cleve not being here.
All right, that's fine. And there's a presentation later by the Pelican Island Community School, and the principal of Pelican Island Elementary, as well as a representative from the school, is here. And I would say you should coordinate with them to try and help get the word out for those kids.
Absolutely.
Right?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. These down to proclamations. Okay. Andrea.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
Back again, huh? You're always here. We love to see you, okay?
All right.
How you doing?
And Lucia.
Great, man. We've met many times.
Anne's accepting it.
Oh, you're getting it. Okay. All right, that's great. This is a proclamation for Gopher Tortoise Day, which is April 10, 2017. Whereas the gopher tortoise has been living on the earth for 500,000 to 2 million years, and whereas the gopher tortoise today is listed as threatened in the state of Florida and the United States of America, and whereas the gopher tortoise is considered a keystone species, and whereas the gopher tortoise's burrow protects more than 350 other commensal species, some of which are also listed as threatened, and whereas the gopher tortoise's habitat needs protection, and whereas having gopher tortoises and other species in our area helps to sustain the area's ecology and provide man with a source of joy and appreciation for nature. Now, therefore, I, Bob McParland, Mayor of the City of Sebastian, do hereby proclaim April 10th as Gopher Tortoise Day in the City of Sebastian and urge all citizens to protect this species by doing and learning more about them by visiting the City of Sebastian's Natural Resources Board exhibit in Riverview Park on Earth Day, April 22nd.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. My name is Ann Lucia. I'm a member of the Natural Resource Board. This year, we were very lucky. We had one of our local home supply stores donate all the materials for us to build an interactive gopher tortoise burrow that we're going to assemble and have at Earth Day. And what it is, it's an actual burrow above ground, and we're going to fill it with all the animals that live with the gopher tortoises, and let the kids and adults, if they choose to, crawl through and have a look to see what it looks like inside. And we consider this to be a great educational tool for the kids and a great way for them to respect Mother Nature. And please come to Earth Day this year. We've got 52 vendors. We have entertainment all day. We have 3 different contests for the kids. If they participate, then they are automatically enrolled into a contest to win a brand new bicycle. So please come and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby Johnson, come on down. Excellent. This is Abby Johnson. This is a proclamation for Water Conservation Month, which is also in April. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida, water management districts, and the city of Sebastian are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Sebastian and the state of Florida have designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, as Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the city of Sebastian has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community to make a difference. And now therefore I, Bob McParland, Mayor of the City of Sebastian, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Water Conservation Month in Sebastian and call upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. Then you have to make sure to tell them which is even and odd day when you're watering your lawn, not like I don't water at all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having me. My name is Abby Johnson. I'm the new intergovernmental coordinator with the St. Johns River Water Management District. And I want to thank you, first of all, for having us. Thank you very much for supporting Water Conservation Month. I'm assigned to Indian River, Brevard, and parts of Volusia County, so I have 37 municipalities. So I'm super excited that you joined on. 2 things. One, we know that every drop counts. So we thank you for setting the example as a municipality for the way to model water conservation for local citizens. And 2, the district governing board has released their cost share program, so there's $25 million available for flood control, natural resources, all of our 4 core mission areas, including water conservation, and we'll fund up to 33% of projects from municipalities and other municipal water users, and 50% for water conservation projects. So just thought we'd give that plug. I'm always available to you and to the council, so should you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We are happy to assist local municipalities. That's our big message. Thank you kindly.
Thank you very much. All right, next we have a presentation by Richard Spiska. from the Indian River County Public Works Director.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Rich Spirica.
Spiriska?
Spirica. I'm the Public Works Director for Indian River County. I'm here to talk to you tonight about County Road 512 and a reclamation reconstruction project that we have coming we anticipate starting in June. It's a $3.5 million project. It's going to consist of total reconstruction of the base material and resurfacing of the roadway westbound between US 1 and Roseland, and on the eastbound side from Easy Street to US 1. The project's going to consist of intersection improvements at Delaware, pedestrian improvements at Delaware, signal improvements, sidewalk improvements, striping. We're going to ensure that there's a 5-foot paved shoulder / bike lane, and it will be striped, marked, and signed as a bike lane. The contract has not been awarded yet. We hope to award within the next month. We've had some issues with the contractors that bid the project. That's basically, we anticipate that the project will take 180 days. The project will be constructed in a manner that will always have at least one lane open, both eastbound and westbound. Due to the type of reconstruction, there's no way to do the project without closing one lane each way to do the work. The contractor is well aware will be well aware that all businesses will remain open, all driveways will remain open, cross streets will remain open, and everything will try to function as best as we can keep it under construction circumstances. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Council, have any questions?
I have,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any questions.
Oh, you don't have any?
When did you say this was going to start?
We're hoping to start in June.
In June?
Yes, ma'am.
And 180 days,
Christmas.
Christmas.
We're hoping to be done by 1st of December.
Okay. Good luck. We need this.
It does.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
All righty. Thank you.
Leads us up to a presentation by the Pelican Island Community School. Dr. Lillian Torres Martinez from the Indian River County School District. Chris Kolstad, who's the principal of Pelican Island Elementary. Nate Bruckner from the United Way. Todd Thomas, who's pastor of Sebastian Christian Church. And I guess Alicia will just sit in the back. Right?
She's our support. Good evening.
Evening.
And thank you for having us here and having this opportunity. I have a short summary of what a community school is and the new title, Community Partnership, through UCF and Children's Home Society. And I don't want to miss anything, so I prepared a short statement. And then Mr. Kolstad will take us through our journey, and Todd will talk about the partnership, and Nate will talk a little bit about the support that United Way has provided for us so far. So the program overview, community schools combine rigorous academic programming with a wide range of in-school program and services, support opportunities to promote student learning in high academic and rigorous settings. What the community school does is it unites and aligns community services and resources and brings them all into the school. There's no single model within community schools that necessarily always look the same. So the ultimate purpose is to remove barriers to access. So when people and students or families have these barriers of accessing services within their community because of distance or finance, bringing these services to the school is the ultimate goal. The community school partnership model is based on a strategy of long-term partnerships along with social agencies, university, and mental health providers, among others. We continue to do needs assessments to assess the needs of that particular community, and it happens very often as yearly basis, to determine what are the needs, and that's what drives the programming within the schools. Most of the schools that have community schools include mental health, counseling, vision, dental, academic tutoring, enrichment, cultural activities, after-school programs, wellness and nutrition, service learning opportunities, and adult education classes. And why we bring this is to aiming to meet the social and emotional needs of the school and the students, the staff, and the community at large. Over 2 decades across the country in over 44 states, there are established community schools. There is at least 5,000 throughout the United States, serving at least 5.1 million students. So we have, for the past year and a half, started exploring and implementing and bringing partners together to establish a community school at Pelican Island. And Mr. Colstead will walk you through some of the journey so far.
So good evening, and thank you very much for having us tonight. We came on a really great night, considering we had a little Go for Tortoise presentation in water conservation, which falls right in line with what Pelican Island's already doing as far as becoming an environmental school. So that's a great segue. Thanks again for having us. So a little overview of what's happening at Pelican Island in regard to the community partnership schools. In July of 2015, Pelican Island began a year-long exploring and planning process to become a community school in alignment with the School District of Indian River County's core values. Since the inception of the idea, we developed partnerships with several different organizations: Children's Home Society, the University of Central Florida, the Indian River State College, the Department of Health, Treasure Coast Community Health, United Way of Indian River County, Sebastian Christian Church, Sebastian Police Department, the Department of Children and Families, the Kindergarten Readiness Collaborative, and the Sequel Care of Florida currently, and that's amongst others. Some of the accomplishments we've had since the inception: we've brought on a community school coordinator, Dr. Tracy Crawford. We have a health services coordinator, Elisa Stanfield, an after-school coordinator, Ms. Vicki Seymour, and 2 community school ambassadors, Julie Perry and Jennifer Patillo. In July 2016, Pelican Island was awarded a 5-year 21st Century After-School and Summer Program grant, which offers both academic and enrichment activities at no cost to the families for up to 120 students. The summer school program is 6.5 weeks long. In August of 2016, we held our first community school event. We had over 50 local organization participants and 150 attendees. Our second annual community school partnership event is being held on April 1st. You all are welcome and invited to attend. We'd love to see you there. In November 2016, we received a $25,000 grant from the United Way to help us continue to make some forward progress. February was a busy month. In February 2017, we established an agreement with Sequel Care of Florida, and they'll be providing mental health services as needed to students and their families. We also had dental sealants done on second-grade students who needed them, and free tax filing sessions for families all the way through April. In March, we held our first Cops and Community Cookout. The event was held to begin building trust with the community and law enforcement. That was one of the things that the community had asked for as one of their top 5 things for their needs based on a needs assessment. Looking into April 2017, we've been in collaboration with IRSC and offering financial education classes to parents who want to manage their finances in a more efficient manner. The first class will be held in April. Professional development for teachers working in the 21st Century After-School program have included Zula training, first aid, literacy, and STEM. The community schools model is a best practice that's nationally recognized for transforming communities. Community partnership school development is not easy, but the UCF Center for Community Schools is convinced that the work is well worth the investment of funds, resources, and effort. Community partnership schools offer an answer to high-need schools needing a foundation for lasting change. To conclude my session, a proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's only by working together that we will collectively realize our nation's greatest potential. Any questions for me?
No.
Sorry for the jeans. I'm on spring break. I'm working, but I'm on spring break. I apologize.
I'm with you.
Todd Thomas?
It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I want to thank the City Council and Mayor for allowing us to be here to present what we have shared with you about community school already. Dr. Martinez as well as Mr. Kolstad have already shared some of the details behind this. My role is to be part of the steering committee, and since Sebastian Christian Church, of which I'm lead pastor, is literally right next door, we desire to be a good neighbor to the school and the community in the neighborhood of which we are in. And so we decided to partner alongside Pelican Island in this endeavor because we desire not to be just a church that is in the community, but we want to be a church that is for the community. And so we have partnered together with them to assist them in any way that we can, allowing access to our building if they need adult education classes, steering committee meetings, or anything of the sort where they may need some space that the school currently filled to the max simply doesn't have. So I'm here to be a support, to offer any kind of help that I can, and my friendship with Chris and the rest of the team is growing as well. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring it on home, Nate.
Not too sure what else I can add to this comprehensive presentation, but United Way was happy to get behind this movement for community schools. It's a nationwide best practice. This is a program that is fluid and adapts to the needs of the community. I think we're finding that a program like that really has legs and can really benefit any community. We need the feedback from the community to really make a comprehensive program that'll be as effective as I think we all hope it will be. So it was our pleasure. United Way is here to help the community, and we're happy to have this time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I guess the only way I can say it is the community schools. I've been involved. Dr. Torres got me involved in the beginning, I guess. You know, I'm involved in a lot of things with the Department of Children and Family, poverty forums in many of the different counties, and she came in. I participated in a lot with Indian River County, and I was glad it came in our back door here in Sebastian. And the easiest way for me, community schools, first and foremost, it's about the kids. Then it's working with the parents of the kids, and then the community as a whole. And what they've developed over the last 2 years has just been phenomenal with the partnerships they've made with the different organizations, especially like Treasure Coast Community Health and Sequel, which offers wraparound services for children and families, as well as mental health services, so we can try and help the whole community, as well as partnering with the local college for adult classes that'll be after hours and potentially on the weekends. And then Pastor Thomas has opened up his church to assist in any way, shape, and form that they can. And there's been an ongoing monthly meetings between all the partners, as well as Chief Morris. Well, she stepped out, and she's been very involved because I think this is just going to be fantastic. It was about a year ago, we took about 25 people and we took a bus ride over to Evans High School in Orlando, which is a high school that's a community school, and the difference that it has made in that community is just phenomenal, and I see the same things happening here. So, thank you. Leads us up to brief announcements. This Friday night, the Chamber will have their concert in Riverview Park in the Heart of Oak Celtic and Sea Songs from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And then on April 1st, the Craft Club show will be in Riverside Park, Riverview Park from 10 to 3 p.m. Also on April 7th, the Chamber concert will have another concert in Riverview Park, Blue Cypress Bluegrass from 5:30 to 8 p.m. On April 8th, the Sebastian River Art Club will have a showing in Riverview Park from 10 to 4 p.m. And on April 22nd, there will be a shredding and electronics recycling event in Riverview Park behind the Speedway from 9 to noon, and the community cleanup for household furnishings and white goods at the Barber Street Sports Complex from 9 to noon.
Mr. Mayor, that's also Earth Day.
That's also Earth Day, April 22nd, so come on out. Any other brief announcements?
Mr. Mayor?
You want to bring it? Yes, sir.
There, in the insert for the waste management bills that went out this week, I believe, to the community, should be the insert about the shredded event and also the community cleanup.
All right, and there's not, you done? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. There's another event coming up, it's next week, and it has to do with an initiative that's going on for the Indian River Executive Roundtable, and it has to do with the Kids at Hope, which is an initiative. And it means that each child is capable of success, no exceptions. And we are extremely fortunate to have Antoine Fisher and Rick Miller come out, and they'll be speaking at the Vero Beach High School Performing Arts Center. And anybody who doesn't know Antoine Fisher, you can Google him. He's an author, a poet, an actor, and he's written several major motion pictures. His life story is amazing, from a child who grew up with a drug addict mother, and he went on into the United States Navy. I mean, he was dealing drugs before that, pimping people out, and then he went into the United States Navy, and it had a profound change in his life, and he has come out and he fully supports the Kids at Hope methodology. So him and Rick Miller will be out, again, like I said, the Vero Beach High School Performing Arts Center, and he'll be speaking from 7 to 9:30 p.m., and there's no cost. And I've heard this gentleman before, and just to hear his life story and what they're hoping to do with the Kids at Hope. And this Kids at Hope, it's not a program, it's an initiative. This Kids at Hope is also going to be being brought to the Pelican Island School District. So, any other brief announcements?
No, I would just say that's a great announcement, but I would wonder, that's next Tuesday, so that's a very short time. It's a free event, and I was wondering if maybe we could get a slide on Channel 25 as quickly as possible to go ahead and get that out into the public as much as we can.
All right, thank you. Any other brief announcements? All right, at this time, I'll recess the City Council meeting and convene as the Community Redevelopment Agency. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Chairman McPartlin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Coy.
Here.
Mr. Dodd is asked for an excused absence. Mr. Hill.
Here.
Ms. Kitchen.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, leads us up to 7B, approval of minutes from the March 8th CRA meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Chairman Coy.
Yes.
Mr. Hill.
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen.
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Leads us up to item C, fiscal year 2016 CRA annual report. Mr. Griffin.
Yes, sir. Our CFO, Ken Kilgore, will be making the presentation.
Hello.
Hello.
We're required by Florida statutes every year to present a report on the CRA activities to the governing body. A lot of it is boilerplate. We do include the financial statements for the year ending September 30th, 2016. There's some charts on the tax increment and how much it has changed from year to year with some graphics. The biggest activity during the year 2016, in addition to continuing the support of community events, we made some repairs to the working waterfront properties. We also addressed the Cavcor boat parking property. The other item I wanted to mention is that we did kick off some additional landscaping work at the Riverview Park and contracted that service out to get that started. I would be happy to respond to any questions you have, but it would be, this report would be advertised as being available in the newspaper after it's approved according to the statutes.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to accept the annual CRA report.
Second.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Coy?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes business for the Community Redevelopment Agency, so I'll adjourn this meeting and reconvene as the City Council. Brings us up to item 9, the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I was asked by a citizen to remove item E.
E?
E is an echo.
Echo.
Any other? All right.
Okay, I move to approve items A through D and F and G.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen? Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, and leads up to item 9E, awarding the continuing service agreement for the Barber Street Sports Complex restroom.
I move approval
Hill?
of item E.
Second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter?
Evening, Ben Hawker.
Good evening.
Sebastian. At the sports complex, we built, I've been here 10 years only, but we put in a new restroom there. I don't know if it was built to handicap standards. I believe that's the reason we're putting this bid out. And in looking around the town, over on Schumann Drive, we built a restroom facility, which is ADA approved. We also built another restroom, which is at the Main Street boat ramp. Now, what is different in this that we could not take, or why are we destroying a restroom to make it into a storage room and building a new restroom when the storage is only going to be used at Barber Street for the Sharks? I guess that's a baseball team or something. I don't keep up on it. But to have the restroom that's there, that we just built fairly recently, gutted and made into a storeroom, it just doesn't seem logical. The other thing is, we already own the blueprints for that building. We own the blueprints for the Schumann Park tennis court bathroom, which was built new. And we also own the blueprints for the one that's down on Main Street. We have an engineer with our staff here who's a PE, and if there are any little minor changes, a PE is as good as an architect's stamp on modifying any architectural plans. It seems that we should be looking at something we already own, save $20-some-odd thousand, and if it means we have to take another consultant, if we use a blueprint that's already in existence, a bid would go out to hook up a new sewer line and put in some sort of a sidewalk, I overheard on it. And I just saw in the paper, we're out for an advertisement bid, or a bid, for another bathroom in the city of Sebastian, which will be at the working waterfront. I mean, what are we doing? We can use existing blueprints. The home builders here in town do. They move a dining room and a living room and switch it around. They use existing blueprints. Again, we have a PE here who can approve it. I just think we should look a little further into it. And by the way, I couldn't call the hotline on this one. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, I think there's a little bit extra concerning this building, which wasn't ADA compliant, as well as the usage of the facility. You want to elaborate a little further on that, Mr. Griffin?
I think Mr. Hawker doesn't realize the condition, we're talking about the football field restrooms. They are not ADA compliant. Councilmember Kinsham probably knows a lot better than I how old these are, but they are in, frankly, a terrible shape. The other restrooms that the speaker was talking about were actually built internally by Bucky Gerber, as I remember. The dog park restroom, the Schumann bathrooms at the tennis facility, and also the skate park. So that cut down on cost, obviously. There are site plan issues. Also, we no longer have a CAD engineering aide on staff. That person quit about 3 weeks ago. So while we do have a professional engineer on staff, we don't have a person who can work the CAD drawings and make it site specific. So we can't do that. So also, what the engineers do, or this design engineers will do, is part of the permitting process. They're going to help with that. So I anticipated that this was going to cost around, I don't know, 20,000 or so, 21, it's 23. It's in the ballpark, and I think we should move forward with this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Griffin. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this matter? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Brings us up to item 10, committee reports and appointments for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Ms. Williams.
Yes, your incumbent, Rick Carter, would like to serve another term. Additionally, the 2 alternates would like to move up, and Mr. Kroll is also interested.
All right. Council, any preference?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to continue on with the incumbent.
All right, I'll second that. Anyone else have any? No? And we just have the one expired and the one to reassume?
Mr. Carter, he'll serve another term, and then the 2 alternates will stay where they are then.
Okay, all right. All right, so Mr. Eugen will continue on, and the alternates will continue on, and I thank you all for your service, and there's other boards that have openings, and if you wish to apply, I encourage you to apply, and once again, thank you for your service. Any other committee reports? We have no public hearings. Unfinished business, item 12A, award work authorization, number 1 supplemental to TKDA in the amount of $75,000 for environmental study at the airport. Mr. Griffin.
Yes, sir. First council meeting in February, council approved a FDOT supplemental grant for an environmental study at the airport. TDK is doing work out at the airport right now with a master plan, and they have supplied a work authorization for us for not to exceed $75,000, and we are recommending approval. Scott, do you have anything to add?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and members of City Council, as indicated in the background section of this agenda transmittal, the Sebastian Airport would like to add a section to its master plan to include environmental studies. At present, there are over 38 acres of prime airport property that is impacted by a scrub jay habitat conservation plan that was initiated in March of 2000. And the conservation areas at the airport were created in exchange for allowing landowners in the highlands, approximately 317 lots, to allow these homeowners to build without special permits. Unfortunately for the airport, the Habitat Conservation Plan affects its ability to build new airport structures, bring in new businesses, and create jobs. These environmental studies will assess the validity of the current Habitat Conservation Plan, and where needed, recommend changes to the plan in concert with the United States Department of Fish and Wildlife and also with in concert with the Indian River County Conservation and Parks Division, to arrive at a solution that will hopefully allow the airport to open up a portion or all of its airport set-aside property for future development.
All right, thank you, Scott. Council, any questions for staff?
No, sir. I'd move authorization number 1 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Second. Anyone from the public wish to speak in this matter? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, leads us up to item 12B, approve a continuing service agreement with the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council to provide Parks and Rec planning services, to include an update on the comprehensive plan. Mr. Griffin.
Yes, sir. At the last council meeting, we had a proposal brought forward for a Parks and Recreation master plan from Tyndall Oliver out of Orlando, and that was rejected by the council. Coincidentally, I just happened to be down at the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council the next day and started a discussion with the folks down there about them doing the planning and the planning for parks work for us. They came up, Mr. Busha and Tom Lanhan. We had a meeting last Monday, and a week ago Monday, and we decided that we would bring forward to council a proposal that would update the Parks and Rec element to the city's comprehensive plan, provide a GIS park network map, a parks 5-year capital improvement plan, and also the status of the comp plan evaluation appraisal, EAR report. So we're bringing this forward tonight for your approval, hopefully, and it will be a work authorization for Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council to provide those services for us, and the amount would be not to exceed $19,600.
$19,600. I thought you said 90,000.
$19,000.
$19,600. All right. Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Any questions of staff? All right. I move approval of this item.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
I guess my only question, Mr. Griffin, we've had any headway on the inspection of the playground equipment?
We have, yesterday and today, we have an employee getting training, inspection training. I believe he'll be back Monday after that. And then we are looking into, as we talked about before, buying some new disabled playground equipment, handicap playground equipment for handicapped youngsters. We're trying to effect an inspection, the yearly inspection from them once we make that purchase and install it, and they would do the rest of the playground equipment. So we're trying to work out a few things. Yes, sir.
All right, that sounds great. And there's no concern for the employee's liability in inspecting this equipment, which was brought up at the last meeting?
There shouldn't be.
All right, thank you. All right, leads us up to item 12C, discuss alcoholic beverages in Riverview Park. Mr. Griffin?
This would be City Attorney Ginsburg's issue. I'll let him initiate the discussion.
This came up at the last city council meeting, and you asked that the matter come back to you as a discussion item on your agenda. And so I provided you with the current ordinance, the current resolution implementing the ordinance, and also the way in which the current ordinance got drafted in 2004. That's part of your backup. And so I'll be happy to work with you with regard to either keeping it the same or changing it. It's up to the city council to make the decision.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, this came about because of an item that was on the consent agenda at the last council meeting regarding alcohol in the parks. And it's funny because my recollection was when we actually passed an ordinance that allowed alcohol in the parks, that was done when we were originating the clam bake way back in the day. And there was no way that we could allow for an event like that to take place without having alcohol sales that would help to drive the funding for that wonderful festivity. When we did that, one of the things of great concern was that we were opening up a Pandora's box. So what we did at the time was we said that in order for there to be sales or consumption of alcohol in our parks, we would have to have it as a city-sponsored event. That's really sort of saving us from having some of the other events that take place in our parks from becoming events that sell or consume alcohol. And I thought it was a great thing, and I was actually correct when I was saying that. I was surprised because I don't remember in 2006, because Ms. Coy, if you can believe it, there's a time when neither you or I was on this council from 1999 till now. There was a short period of time when one of us wasn't up here. And it was when this thing was changed. So that's why it wasn't remembered by either one of us. But it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. The changes that were made, they make absolutely no sense. And I think the reasoning for us to go into the original ordinance or resolution or whatever it is, that's attorney speak, the reason for that was so that we could have control and that the city events could be good, solid, charitable fundraisers, but that the city would have control over those things. And the city does a spectacular job of controlling them. Before we went forward and passed that, for instance, the Pelican Island Wildlife Festival didn't have alcoholic beverage sales, nor did the 4th of July. None of those things happened until we passed the original ordinance. I don't remember when it was, back in 2000 or 2000?
This is 2004.
Okay, so 2004.
It's page 132 of your agenda.
Okay. So anyway, I don't understand the reasoning behind changing it. I think it makes things a little bit confusing. I don't think that, from my personal standpoint, I would like to just open our pavilion up to weekend keggers just because you get a permit and give them $100. And it's, for me, difficult to see how we could regulate something like that when you have hundreds of people walking around our parks at any given time. So if someone were to say, I'm going to have 40 people here for a party, they do that at the city center or the yacht club and say, we're going to have 40 people. Well, that's a pretty contained area and it's easy to regulate those things. But when you're at the park and you have hundreds of people walking around, it's hard to contain that. It's hard to try to say the city should map out a certain location, put tape up, who's going to check for age and all of these things. So I think the easiest thing, the most sensible thing to me is just to go ahead and make an amendment to what would be Ordinance O-04-06, make an amendment that would revert back to its previous reading. And I make a motion to that.
I'll second that. And just I agree with every single thing that you said. I don't recall that we've ever, in the 13 years now, I'm going on 13 that I've sat up here, we've never approved a private party in the park that I recall. Never had a request for it in the park that I remember. Now, I'm getting old. We might have done it, might have slid by me on a consent agenda somewhere and I didn't know about it, but I don't recall this. And I think it just, because we have the other facilities that we do allow it, this is out. The other thing I wanted to add to Councilmember Hill's comments is, this is out in the open, where people who are walking around in our city, it's wide open. When you're in the yacht club, when you're at the community center, what you're doing inside is not public view for everyone. But we have children playing, in the park, we have the volleyball, and we have people walking back and forth. So activities in the park are wide open. And I just don't think a whole bunch of beer parties are what we want people to think of Sebastian. That's a good activity to have open to the public. So I agree and second the motion.
I also agree. I don't believe the park is anywhere for alcoholic beverages. The community center and the yacht club is fine, but not an open area like that, unless it's a city-sponsored event.
That would be the exception, and it's simple to do. The alcoholic beverages will not be allowed except at City of Sebastian sponsored events, period.
All right, anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? I guess the only question I have, I don't argue with you.
It's all right, this is what
Is-
you've given me
is-
is an instruction,
is-
and I'll prepare the appropriate document and bring it back to you for first reading next time.
All right, this ordinance is concerning recreational facilities, correct? Are some of the piers down there considered recreational facilities?
Okay.
Is that,
Yeah.
am I getting a nod? Yes. I mean, so this precludes somebody who's out there fishing and not causing any kind of harm, that they can't have a beer while they're fishing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the law. I mean, even if they,
That's-
even under the current regulations, they cannot do that unless they get a permit.
All right.
So, I mean, they may do that, I mean, just saying.
No, I've been down there drinking coffee and I kind
Not
of
a
noticed.
boat owner, I don't
No,
know.
Because the thing is, I grew up in New York City. I had mentioned this to Mr. Ginsburg and Mr. Griffin. And in New York City, you can drink on public transit or in the parks as long as you have your beer in a brown paper bag.
We don't,
And I'm not saying we should do the same thing.
Thank
But
you.
I know when I go down there on the riverfront, I see a lot of people come down,
Lot of
observe
brown
the
paper
river.
bags,
Or
sure.
they get off work and they have a beer and they're not causing anybody any trouble. But I think if they're not causing any trouble, they're not going to be alerted to the police department, so continue on as they do, so.
I think the younger crowd would use a red Solo cup.
A
rather
red
than
Solo
brown
cup,
paper bag.
right. Or what's the other one? What's the hot item, the new, whatever they have, all right. Any further council discussion? So you know where you're going with this, Mr. Ginsburg, then?
Yes, sir, you'll see an ordinance for first reading next time.
All right, thank you. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
There's no roll call necessary. That's just an
Okay.
instruction to
No?
me.
You got it? All right, thank you. Leads us up to public input. Anyone from the public wish to speak on an item not already on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Ben Hawker, City of Sebastian. Kudos to our council. I recall the mayor saying the railroad building was going to fall over and disintegrate. I happened to notice riding around that our Sebastian train station has returned to the city on a vacant piece of land. And the gentleman who had come before, who was asking the city to pick up a few bucks to bring it to his property, it's now sitting there. I don't know when it came, but it's there. And I gather you shouldn't really go over and try and take a door off it. The question is, it was in such bad stress that it would be impossible to move, and it shows up here. It is a kind of dilapidated building, but just for the public interest, our train station has returned. It's across the street from where the old hardware store was. And that's about it. Thank you.
Okay. So your assessment on the building was that it's perfect?
My assessment was you had made a statement or that you had looked at it. It was rotted from several feet on the bottom. The floor was gone. I only looked at it driving by, but they were able to put structure underneath it and move it from Fort Pierce.
So you deem it safe for inhabitant?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. But, how is this man going to bring that up to city code as of today?
I don't think that's our problem. That's
No,
his.
It's a private citizen who brought it up and put it on his own property.
No, I didn't see any of our little posted signs or anything around there. You know, that little plastic thing you lift up and it
It's
says,
on his private property, sir.
I can pick up a house and just move it down the street and put it on a vacant piece of land?
No, he had to
Own
get
it.
permits. He had to get a permitting process, and it
well,
came,
okay, but
it came
I
in
just
the
didn't
middle
see
of the
anything
night.
on the
It
property
arrived
that
on a
said
Sunday.
that.
It cost him a lot of money, and the kudos should go to the gentleman who brought it up here for the future enjoyment of the city of Sebastian. He truly does get kudos. He did take, we suggested to him to go ahead and, please, if you want it, bring it up. So to.
Well, again, it's here.
I kind of thought you're chastising us, Ben,
No, it
or
was the-
cynically saying something. The guy did us a service, so let's say thank you
Well, if it was that easy for that gentleman to do it, we could have picked it up and brought it and put it near the railroad
And then you would be
tracks on
standing
the
there
vacant-
talking about the waste of money. So come on, Ben. Come on.
Anyone else from the public? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Robert Stephen. I live at 150 Concha Drive here in Sebastian. I was going to bring this to your attention last meeting, but I was quite ill. I couldn't talk. I'm having a hard time now still talking, but I'm breathing tonight, so that's good. As you're probably aware, the findings on the glyphosate is now in, and it's been determined cancer-causing. Monsanto Corporation, which is now Bayer Corporation, must label Roundup, the product, accordingly. Well, that was good. The city's chemical sprayers, Applied Aquatics, has changed their all-kill recipe to instead contain diquat synthetic 2,4-D as the herbicide to kill the grass along our waterways. This is not a mosquito control boat. This is a grass-killing boat. On March 2nd, about 11 o'clock, while working in my front yard, I heard the Applied Aquatics boat out front. I ran to see two, not the usual one boat, spraying the edges of the waterway. I called my friend Graham Cox up on George Street to warn him so he could close his windows on the house. And Graham stopped the guy in the boat and asked the operator about his job, as he was concerned about the birds nesting at that point along the waterway. Graham's in the Audubon Society there. Graham asked the operator what he was spraying, and the response was diquat 2,4-D. And the reason for it is that the people, neighbors in Sebastian, had complained too much about the Roundup. Well, unfortunately, this compound is as bad or worse than glyphosate, but that's neither here nor there. And the big thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that there are other environmentally friendly methods to be used to keep our waterways flowing. And I believe Mr. Cox has that study already for you. My breathing illness was compromised on the 2nd of March due to the overspray and drift of the herbicide diquat 2,4-D. The residents along these waterways should be warned of at the time when you're spraying this chemical. And they should be told what they're spraying in their yards. Just so happened the wind was blowing right over my house, and I was working in the yard all day. I've been out of the hospital and the doctor's office with different breathing apparatuses and all the medications I could try. You may not be required under law because that's not a public waterway. Mind you, everybody fishes in it, goes out in their boats in it, uses it like a public waterway. But you say technically it's not a public waterway, so you don't have to follow the laws. So I think it would be the decent thing to do, to follow what the federal government and the state government says we should be doing on these chemical boats. And that is making the public aware of what's going on. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, sir. We've gone around and around on this a lot of times, and, you know, I'm sorry for your illness, sir, but I believe, Mr. Griffin, that we are following the federal regulations. The person that we have who goes in there spraying is following not only the federal guidelines, the St. John's Water Management District, and the Department of Environmental Protection. Am I wrong?
You're correct, sir.
Okay, so they're not spraying anything that is deemed you can't spray?
Well, I'm not out there watching them load the chemical, so I don't know exactly what it is, but these folks are trained, they're licensed, they also have contracts with DEP, St. John's, as you mentioned, so they've gone through that vetting process there. So to suggest that they're not following the law, and then therefore by extension we're not following the law, I just think is frivolous.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? All right, leads us up to new business. Item 14A, award the disaster debris removal disposal hauler contracts to Tim Rose Contracting. Mr. Griffin.
I'll just start this off and then turn it over to Frank, but as I described in the agenda, transmittal as part of our after-action review after Hurricane Matthew, we went, one of the things that really was a concern to us was our disaster debris removal. And frankly, I was unhappy with the contract hauler that we had and their performance. And I got together with Frank. Frank got Frank Watanabe, our city engineer, he published an RFP looking for proposals for disaster debris removal and disposal. And Frank, do you have anything to add to that?
Just want to highlight again in your packet, Frank Watanabe, the city engineer. We went out to bid with open for qualifications. That's just for qualifications under the federal requirements. We're looking for the best company, and then we also had prices. On this type of contract, the federal government does allow us to have bid prices set aside so then we know what we're getting into. But the whole process was for qualifications. We received 10 qualified RFQs. We looked at all 10. Myself, the city manager, and the public works director was on the committee. We rated each of these proposals separately, and then we had a combined meeting which was open to the public to score all the firms, and the two highest score firms were Tim Rose Contracting and Series Environmentalists.
All right, thank you, Mr. Watanabe.
Move approval.
Second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? I guess my only question would be is, you guys did a fantastic job during the storm, and I know you were going to do a comprehensive after-action report, and I don't doubt anything. I'm just wondering, is Tim Rose going to be exclusive to the city, or is he bidding on other municipalities or anything along those lines?
Well, for full disclosure, I did feel a similar question from another council member this week, and obviously that you know, it would raise some eyebrows, but I will have to say that one of the things that when I was scoring this, Tim Rose came to mind, not only with the numbers he was bringing forward, what he was going to charge, because that's important, obviously, but number two, his loyalty to the city. I don't want to be sappy here, but I remember back on that Friday and Saturday, right after Hurricane Matthew, when Frank and I were scrambling, and Tim Walker, our public works director, trying to get folks in here to clear debris. And I believe it was that Saturday morning, I can't remember, it was October 8th or something like that, maybe the 7th, I can't remember. We collectively made the decision to call Tim Rose. In about an hour, hour and a half, max of 2 hours, we had his two crews out on the streets clearing. So, and during that time, he was in a street, I forget what street he was doing. Was it Barber?
It was Barber Street.
It was Barber, not South Barber, but Barber from 512 to Salem. He had equipment out there staged at Hardy Park, and he was on the job in an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. That meant a lot to me. And once the disaster was declared in Indian River County, which was about a week after Flagler County, Volusia, we then were able to get our contract haulers, and they were able to get equipment in here. Well, the equipment was just, I thought, substandard. Had problems with their employees, had problems with the equipment breakdowns, but Tim Rose, once we scrambled him again, was out there on the job, and it was somebody who we could depend on. That really means a lot to me. Now, on approval, I will have somebody local who ostensibly I can just pick up the phone and he will be there. So it looks like we're favoring Tim Rose here. He has gotten some contracts from us lately. He's been the low bidder. I mean, I have to concentrate on that. But here, with this issue, he was loyal. He was loyal to the city of Sebastian, and he was loyal to us personally. So that really drove it home for me.
He understood your question.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Having been here before the storm hit and right after the storm hit, The city did a fantastic job, no doubts about it, and, I'm just happy. And, I trust that Mr. Rose will continue on with his great work.
Mayor? He started on Saturday, and by Sunday, there was a huge pile already in the airport.
Correct.
Huge. Couldn't believe it.
Mayor, just to highlight, and council, just to highlight, FEMA does require us to have, under their guidelines, a primary and a secondary, and the secondary is supposed to be there just in case we have such a devastating storm that one hauler cannot handle it. That's the reason why you have to have a secondary hauler.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Watanabe. Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please accept item 14B, award consultant service agreement to MBV Engineering in the amount of $22,000 for stone crop drainage improvement design. Mr. Griffin?
I'm going to turn this over to Frank. This is a drainage project that we would like to get jump-started. So Frank, how about giving the description?
A little history behind this project. This project has been on the books for a long time. It is in our stormwater master plan. It's an area that drains the central part of Sebastian, the tulip area. That whole area drains out towards the stone crop. We have a ditch system that right now is an open ditch system that goes from Laconia all the way out to the stone crop, outfall by stone crop, and it's a large ditch. In the years, that ditch have been not well maintained, so the side slopes have gotten to the point where it's become hard to maintain. It's gotten to the point where if that ditch is vertical pretty much, if that canal system ever fails, it will choke our stormwater capability to drain the central part of town. That is an alarming situation for all of us, so we put it on our list of, the county has a list of hazard mitigation grant program projects. This wasn't rated as one of the higher ones, but it's still on the list. We see this as a more priority, more so now because of the condition of that ditch. So we want to rate this and put this as a higher priority. And to do that, they say the more the project is ready in terms of project readiness, having the plans and the design done, puts it higher on the risk, higher on the priority list. And with that, and because there's a potential, especially with the fundings right now with these hurricane and with the FEMA money coming in place, there's a tier system. There could be some additional funds available that could be then transferred to these secondary and tier projects. We want to be in a better position to be able to go after those funds. So what we want to do is get the design work done now and then budget this project in this coming year CIP as a future project for construction.
All right, thank you, sir. Council, any questions for staff?
I move we award the consultant service agreement CSA number 10.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to speak on this award? Any further council discussion? All I can say is I hope this is in the area where we did have the flooding after the storm up there off of Laconia, and this is just one of the areas because you just got to wait for the water to drain. Hopefully this will ease that. Is that?
That is true. That is true.
Because that was the one area, even Saturday, just waiting for the water. It's just in, I guess, the way it flows.
We do have several other pipe locations along the same, this is one of the worst drainage areas we have. We do have 2 other pipe locations that we have programmed in the future, but this would really help us make sure that the water flows.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Watanabe. Any further council discussion? No. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Accept item 14C, authorize the city manager to draft the Sebastian Municipal Airport lease agreement with Cruiser Aircraft. Mr. Griffin.
This is Scott Baker, our airport director. It's been his baby, so I'm going to turn this over to him for the presentation.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this agenda item speaks to the selection of a new business tenant for Hangar C, a 15,000 square foot multi-purpose hangar and office building that's currently under construction at the airport. The airport wanted to seek out a qualified tenant and have an approved rental agreement in hand when the hangar is scheduled for completion in early July. The background portion of the agenda transmittal outlines the RFP process used to seek out and select the leading business candidate. 2 very well qualified businesses responded to our request for proposal. A selection committee reviewed each proposal and scored the candidates based on their business relevance to aviation, new jobs creation, minimum noise impact on the community, and how the business would blend in with our desire to attract a relatively small, specialized business having high standards that complements the quality of life who work and live in the surrounding community. Using this scoring method, the selection committee picked Cruiser Aircraft, Inc. and Czech Sport Aircraft jointly as the leading candidate to locate into Hangar Charlie. We think Cruiser Aircraft Incorporated and Czech Sport Aircraft will be a welcome addition to the airport and to the community. We're going to run a short video, if Barbara can go ahead and launch that now, that shows a little bit about the activities that Cruiser Aircraft plans when they set up shop here in Sebastian. Czech Sport Aircraft is, I'll just do a rolling commentary. Czech Sport Aircraft, as it implies by the name, is a manufacturing company in the Czech Republic. They have designed a very well-made and now very world popular design for a two-seat airplane that fits the United States light sport category. And so if you can envision this hangar being the hangar hangar building at Sebastian, these fuselages and wings are broken down and then transported in overseas shipping containers. They would arrive in Sebastian and then be offloaded. You can see the number of people here. This would be representative of the number of folks, of new jobs that would be created. These folks are trained mechanics that would be taking the aircraft and its components and joining them together for ultimate delivery to areas in the United States, Latin America, and in South America.
All right, how many jobs are you anticipating with this?
You have to take it with a grain of salt, but I'm thinking at least 8 the first year, and Mr. Bob Schultz is with us tonight. He can also answer questions on that. He's representative for Cruiser Aircraft, but we're anticipating it'll grow to about 20 people in 2 years.
All right, thank you, Scott. Council?
Mr. Mayor, it is a great pleasure to move authorization of this item and direct the city manager to draft the lease with Cruiser Aircraft.
All right, second. All right, anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Boy, I get a little nervous. I get my picture taken when I ask if anybody has any input here.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Schultz would like to beg your...
coming up.
He'd like to beg your
I
indulgence.
have a question, because you just moved to approve that, but was that going to be part of the environmental study that you just talked about earlier when you're building this hangar? No?
No.
No. Okay, that's all. That was
All
just
right,
a
thank you,
question.
ma'am. Yes, Scott.
Mr. Schultz would like to beg your indulgence and maybe after the meeting have a photo opportunity.
All right, he already took one. That's $5. Okay, next one. Oh, the first one's for free, the next one's $5. All right, anyone else from the public wish to speak in this matter? Any further council discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I would like to first congratulate staff for the hard work they've done over the years out at our airport. You know, this is our third major hangar construction. It's leased out before it's open, and I'll tell you, something like this is great for our airport. This is not manufacturing, it's assembling, but it requires people. It requires leasing the property, getting money to the city, and it requires jobs. And I'm excited to read this lease because it talks about jobs not only at the airport, but someday off-site. It's just a really great thing for the city of Sebastian, and it's the kind of thing that really should make you excited about the work that our staff has been doing. I remember many years ago when Mr. Griffin was the airport manager, and he was directed by us to go forward and do these types of things, and it's good to see that this type of venture is still going and still working at our airport, and I'm just excited about the opportunity that they've brought to our city. So congratulations, and thank you so much for the hard work.
All right, thank you.
I concur too. This is truly what we envisioned 10 years ago. We are calling Sebastian a boutique airport. It's specialty. We've wanted to keep it small. We took the tower out of the plan, and we've kept it small. And again, Jim is right. Kudos. We haven't even finished the building, and we have a lease. So when are we starting the next hangar?
That's on the next agenda. All right.
Ms. Coy, to answer your question, it's on the books already.
There you go. Hey, we're doing, this is the right thing. This is the right thing to do.
All right, any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bring us up. Mr. Ginsburg, you have any items for us today?
Nothing tonight, sir, thank you.
Mr. Griffin, you have anything additional?
I do, real quick, sir. I don't know if anyone's been down to South Barber, down by Publix, but there are two message board signs, one eastbound and one on the west side of the tracks coming back eastbound. And that is announcing that the Barber Street Railroad crossing, I'm sorry, thank you, Barbara. It just has to hit me in the back of the head. I was talking about the South Barber Street Railroad crossing that's going to be closed April 11th, and we have installed message board signs eastbound and westbound just short of the railroad tracks. So in anticipation of that work, I do not have on the message board how long that's going to take because I don't know. I'm anticipating 3 days, but we'll have to see. That is April 11th. I want to announce some paving projects that have been finished recently. These are milling and paving projects, Day, Schumann, Concha, Bevan, Truman, Louisiana, Vosel, between Fleming and Barber. The reconstruction projects of Vosel between Barber and Roseland is ongoing, and the reconstruction of North Barber from Salem to the bridge is also ongoing. You may be getting some complaints about that. It's taken a little bit longer, but from what I've heard here just today, they're going to be paving either Monday or Tuesday, so I hope that happens. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Hey, brings to mind, that new pothole machine we have, is that in use and everybody's been trained, or is?
It's in use. It's being deployed about 1 or 2 days a week. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
If you have a list, get it to me.
Yeah, I got a
and
couple. I'll write you down and, I'll forward them to you.
Very good.
Thank you. No, we're good there. It's, Ms. Williams,
Nothing tonight.
nothing? Mr. Hill?
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Kinchin?
Yeah, Mr. Griffin, if you would ask the Parks Department to check the timers on the median sprinklers. I went by there at 2:45 today and they were running.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else, ma'am? Ms. Kinchin, anything else?
No.
No? Okay, great. The only thing I have is April 20th. We'll be having our second annual Castle Memory Field dedication in Riverview Park at 5:30 p.m., and I encourage everybody to come out there. And those flags that will be put in the ground, they represent every child that died of abuse or neglect in the past year. So that's all I have. Ms. Coy?
Just want to remind folks that Wednesday, April 12th, prior to our next city council meeting, is the MPO meeting. And this is the MPO meeting in Vero Beach that will be discussing the Go Line bus hub and the Anson track and the current hub, because I know we're all still getting a lot of emails and concerned citizens. Today, I had a concerned citizen want me to tell them about the new bus terminal going out on the Anson track. Folks, it's not a terminal. It's not a bus station. It's been called a station. This is the Go Line, which we currently have out there, that there's an opportunity to relocate it. So those who are concerned or who would like to come and get the facts about it, please show up on April 12th, Wednesday at 10 o'clock in Vero Beach. We want your input. And I really want people to come and hear the truth about what's going on and what our options are, and because we are getting way far-fetched in the storyline now. So come on down. We'd love to hear you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Coy. That brings up a point. Did we hear back about a workshop here before that April 12th meeting?
We did, and I forwarded an email to members of council basically from Phil Mattson Since their schedule is set a year in advance, they were reticent to move the MPO meeting here.
No, I know about having the MPO meeting. I'm talking about the workshop that we were talking about.
There have been other meetings on this issue, and most of the people who have approached us in the letters that I've seen to council have had a private meeting already, and a lot of the environmental folks. So once I found out that moving the MPO up to this was not feasible, and I fully understand why. There's some very good reasons why we can't have it up here. I think we've provided plenty of opportunity, and inviting them down to the MPO meeting, in my mind, is sufficient.
Okay. Well, I met with several residents last week at Fisher Island, myself, and I know they had met with Commissioner Adams, they had met with Commissioner Flesher, they had met with Mr. Mattson, you know, in the past. But I thought we were still thinking about a workshop just to try and throw out what's really happening.
Yeah, it's gotten a little bit carried away.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I look forward. We'll have a great meeting April 12th at 10 a.m. down at the County Commission, and we'll report back to everybody else April 12th in the evening. Hopefully, we'll be here by 6 o'clock. So anything else, Ms. Coy?
No, thank you.
All right. Well, being there's no further business, we'll see you next council meeting. Good night.